Hello, this is Samie and I welcome you all to eAcademe from the platform of CA Educationist. One of the common questions in the minds of entrepreneurs as well as the students of financial management is that which source of finance is cheaper for a business? Equity finance or debt finance? Before revealing the answer with reasons, keep yourself informed about two important concepts. Number one, equity and debt are considered as two main sources of finance for any business. The finance provided by the owners of a business is termed as equity finance, whereas the finance provided by the lenders is termed as debt finance. For detailed discussion on equity and debt finance, please watch my video titled Equity versus Debt Finance. Number 2. Return charged by the finance providers of a business serves as the cost of finance for that business. Therefore, the return charged by equity investors or shareholders is actually the cost of equity for the business. Likewise, the return charged by debt finance providers or lenders is actually the cost of debt for the business. Having highlighted these concepts, let us now address our question. Apparently, equity finance looks cheaper than debt, since paying dividends is optional. But equity has a hidden cost. And what is that? The hidden cost is the financial return the equity investors expect to make. The shareholders or equity investors expect high rate of return than that of lenders, since equity is a riskier investment. In other words, providing equity finance to a business is risky than providing debt finance, and there are obvious reasons for that. The first reason is the payment of periodic returns to equity investors is optional, whereas the same is mandatory in case of lenders. Unfortunately, it is true. It is not obligatory for a business to pay off dividends. It is possible for a business to retain all after-tax profits without distributing any dividends. Hence, the decision of dividend distribution is discretionary in nature. On the other hand, payment of interest is contractual and is mandatory for a business to pay when it is due. This elevates the risk level for equity investors as they are not sure if they will be periodically compensated for their investment or not. The second reason is, at the time of dissolution, the claims of equity investors are settled in the end after all the liabilities are paid off from the company's assets. Interestingly, that is how we define equity: residual interest in the assets of a business after deducting all its liabilities. In other words, claims of equity investors are considered as least senior out of all the claims on the company's assets at the time of dissolution. On the other hand, normally debt is secured through collateral, which is forfeited in case the company fails to service the debt. This further raises the level of risk for equity investors as they are not sure to what extent their claims will be satisfied in case the company goes bankrupt. These factors are enough to indicate that equity investors carry high risk of investment in comparison with debt investors. And as we know, the higher the risk, the higher the return. Based on this principle, equity investors demand high compensation in terms of high return to cover this elevated risk. This high return charged by equity investors results in a high cost of equity for the business. On the other hand, since less risk is associated with debt finance, lenders do not expect high return, thereby making the cost of debt cheaper for the business. The second factor that makes debt finance cheaper is that the interest payments on debt are tax deductible, whereas dividend payments against equity finance are not. In other words, unlike dividends, interest payments create tax savings for the business. Last but not the least, normally low issuance cost is involved in raising debt finance in comparison with equity finance, which makes the debt finance further affordable for the business. So, the conclusion of our discussion is debt finance is cheaper for a business than the equity finance. However, a question arises that if it is so, should the financing or capital structure of our business be entirely based on debt? Or should we go for a mix of equity and debt finance? To know this, stay tuned. Thank you for watching the video. For more videos, keep watching the series of eAcademe from the platform of CA Educationist by Samie. For any queries, you may WhatsApp or email at the given contact details.